find interviews done with a lot of eminent people. I at first assumed it would be only about Indian directors and actors, but we of course have Amitabh Bachchan, who talks about what it is like to be called God, and Shah Rukh Khan, who talks about not being God, but being an employee of the Shah Rukh Khan fan club. There's Amir and Salman, of course, but there's also Martin Scorsese, Ang Lee, Steven Spielberg, Nicole Kidman, and so many others. It's a book I think we're all looking forward to reading. So Anupama, congratulations and all the best. Can you come up?
There's so many of you, and this is so staggeringly beautiful. I hadn't thought of this at all when the Anil and Literature Live invited me. So thank you. Really, this is amazing. Taj Lands End, thank you. The team at HarperCollins. This is just phenomenal. You know, the front row has a very special place in my heart. So I'm really grateful that so many people have turned up for this. We shot the show for 2 years. It ran from 2012 to 2014. And me and my very amazing all-woman team, there's Smriti Kiran in the front row, and there was Sonal, and there was Kalpana and Ishani, who's running around desperately trying to figure out where Kangana Ranaut is at this moment. So she's still doing production. We all really moved into Mehboob for 2 years. And there's of course Chirag, who did the sound, who's also here. Thank you, sir. There's Hemant, who shot it. There were all my fantastic bosses at Star. Gaurav Banerjee is in the room. There's Rasika, there's Nimisha. Our hope and our idea was to really create interesting, engaging and entertaining conversations around film. You know, film journalism has become a very strange and intriguing beast in the 20 years that I've been doing it. It's really changed. When I started, my mom's in the first row, and I remember I worked for Movie Magazine, and I'm talking about 1989, and my mom was like, oh my God, you're a gold medalist from Bombay University and you're going to write about film stars. And I said, but that's all I want to do. And I've been doing it since then. But back then, there were very few of us who did this. Mainstream newspapers, mainstream magazines, and it's impossible to imagine now, didn't even carry stuff about Hindi movies. I mean, they were considered infra-dig. You didn't, you know, it was sort of opium for the unwashed masses. And there were very few of us doing studio rounds. There were no minders, there were no managers. We would go into Film City and just go from set to set. I mean, it's unthinkable now, the layers we have to go through to access any celebrity. So it's become a space where we're really consumed. Our minds and our media is really consumed by films, but more by celebrity journalism. You know, I was reading an article in HuffPo, and the first line was, celebrity journalism is like crack. Americans are addicted to it. So are we, frankly. You know, it's everywhere. I think film celebrities especially have become sort of omnipresent entities. You know, they're always on. If they're not on a screen, they're on television, or they're in an ad, or they're on a dance show, or they're cutting a ribbon. And it's interesting for us to think about what are the rules now. You know, when so much of what you do depends on access to the same 10.5 people. I mean, there's lots of my journalist friends here, and we all know the 10.5 people we're all chasing every single day. So what are the ethical implications of that? What are the rules of that? How do you create engaging conversations when, in a sense, celebrities have become what an American film critic, Richard Schickel, called intimate strangers. We just know too much about them. You know, we know that Aditya Roy Kapoor fired his driver because he was rude to his parents. I mean, why do I need to know this? You know, it's become slightly surreal almost. So in that environment, what is the role of a responsible journalist? What is a responsible film journalist? What is the role? And how do we create conversations that have depth, that have shelf life, and that add something to your lives as viewers of film, as consumers of film, and as you know, people who are interested in these people. So, should I invite people around? Or you'll do it? So I'm going to invite my partner in crime, Rajiv Masan. Look at the viral fever and look at what this man does. And at some point, Kangana will join us. Ishani, do we have an ETA? 5 minutes, folks. Okay.
Doing the review, you try to just look at it objectively and not be, consumed by the fact that you know this person, all that the person has put in a lot of work, because everyone puts in work, right? Even the worst films. I mean, there's been love and effort put into them, but it's hard, and I'm sure that biases creep in. You try for that not to happen, but you can't please anyone. So that list of how many people stop talking to you because they're doing interviews with you, but then you slam their film next week, that list has grown very long. That's our little secret, right? Just the actors that you see not appearing on our shows for too long when they don't have a release, it's because they're not talking to us.
Well, I'll tell you, Akshay Kumar doesn't talk to me. Does he talk to you?
No.
So Rajiv and I saw Rowdy Rathod in London, and we both just hated it. And we never exchanged notes, okay? It's a professional
We actually
person.
sat in different rows.
Yeah, we sat in different rows, and we don't ask each other because that will invariably influence the other person. And then we look at our reviews and 1 star, 1 star from Rajiv, 1 star from me. And the director was Prabhu Deva, who then I interviewed about a year later. Okay, and he said, Madam, us.
Akshay has been contacting us. I think he definitely wants to do something with us.
Akshay's been contacting.
He's lost 2 big journalists from him.
No, but one sketch they did with Shah Rukh Khan. They have Biswapati, who's the comic who's imitating Arnab
Who's the
Goswami.
real Arnab?
Who's the real Arnab? And so he's asking Shah Rukh, how many awards have you won? And Shah Rukh says, I'm 200 something. How many of those have you bought? And Shah Rukh very seriously says, the first 150. After that, they started paying me. And this is all part of the script that these guys are writing. So has the definition of celebrity changed? Have they changed?
See, I think change has definitely happened because 10 years back, we wouldn't have started this event if the central chair was empty. But now we have, so I think definitely.
Awesome!
So I think that has definitely been one of the most important changes, and everybody is cool, and I think the guest is going to be very cool and okay. That was great. So change has definitely been there. I come from a very small town called Muzaffarpur. It still has no electricity, and so I have very vague memory of movie journalism, like how Anu was saying. So in any of our friends in our mohalla or colony, if they started buying Kingstar or Mayapuri or Screen Magazine, we knew that he was hitting puberty. So I think that was the definition for us for movie journalism then. But today when I go to my small town, my friends from my mohalla wants to know which is the latest review, and they all want to know who's the guy who gives the least amount of stars, so that they can really know, okay, this is the person that we should read the reviews and watch the movies.
They evaluate that from the least amount. Come on! Come in. Come on. So Kangana, we've just started and we're talking about celebrity journalism.
Enlighten me on that a bit.
So Anna,
Okay, so good evening everyone. Sorry, I'm a little late I guess.
No, I think that's the discount that you get for being a celeb in India, I think. So I was just, I think what has changed majorly would be this medium. I think the most important thing that we need to acknowledge is the power of this new medium, which
is digital?
Which is digital, which is internet. I think that technology per se has really changed a lot of things. We have to first acknowledge that, because initially also people used to sit in their colony and make fun of people or may not like or dislike a celebrity, but now they do it on a medium which comes back to you. So people used to criticize, like, dislike, comment every time. Even our fathers used to do that, grandfathers used to do that. But now we have a fascinating technology which throws it back to your face.
It's not a good feeling.
Yeah. So I think that is what has really been the crux and the root of the change. That it all comes back to you and it's just instant. So one bad tweet and somebody is replying to you and firing away. So
But Kangana, you are not on Twitter.
Yeah, because
Why
I'm
not?
very sensitive. I can't really take all of that, especially, and also I think it's not easy to be, where we are. There's so much work pressure, and there's so many expectations, and I don't know about others, but I started very young, and like I told you in my interview that I'm very, I'm sensitive and I take criticism very seriously. Like I wouldn't really believe that people can do it for fun also. Like for me, it's like a proper feedback. Okay, so you really said that I look like a bitch. So you, like, what are the, like, from which angle? So, I would take it really seriously and would want to make it a constructive thing for me and my personality and the work that I do. So if people are doing it for fun, or to be nasty, or just because they are having a bad day, I can't deal with that. So I think there are all kind of people out there, and I don't have to know everyone. It's okay.
But Kangana, and we showed them a clip, Kangana, clippings from the front row, and that interview where she talked about how you don't prepare women like trained dogs to be given away in marriage.
That interview went viral. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a part of social chatter for a long time.
For a long time. That was the single most successful interview we did in 2 years.
And the best part was that when it went viral, the tagline or the headline was that you won't believe who said that. Like, I'm like, why would I be the last person who would talk like that? Like, the actress spoke, and you won't believe who the actress is. And I'm like, so they definitely don't have the impression of me that I have of me. So that was a bit of a revelation.
No, but I think the credit for that really goes to you, because she spoke very honestly about the struggles of being an actor. She talked about sitting on a set all day, or on a film like Double Dhamal, or one of the not so great projects that she's done, and why you would need to do it. And she was very funny, and she said, well, once you're a semi-famous person, you can't exactly go away and be an intern at a magazine.
You're a
semi-famous
can't be an engineer because hey, she was there in 2 movies and now she can't do it.
But I will not take credit for that interview, Anu, seriously, and we spoke about it. Also because around that time I was promoting Krish, and that was actually a promotional interview for that film. And when the interview went viral, the messages that started to come in, I was confused about the interview people were talking about. I didn't know it's your interview. They were like, oh, we saw this and the depth of your personality. I'm like, okay, fine. When the phone calls and the messages became very serious, like 100 messages a day or things like that, I'm like, what did I say? And I said, this is the interview with Anu, and Anu doesn't ask you, like really sensational questions, and she doesn't really get into that. So I said, what did we say? I don't really remember anything. But when I went through that again, I realized that she, for the first time, there was, an interviewer who was wanting to know me, like really me, not the person or the perspective people have of me. Like, she was interested in exploring the human being I was, and I had so much fun talking about it. Like, I'm usually very agitated when I'm on stage or in any interview. Very. But in that interview, I couldn't believe we were having these really free-flowing conversations, and I was a bit, it was a learning experience that could also be an interview first, when you're, so happy to talk about things that people generally don't talk about. Who's interested in those kind of questions, and then it went viral. So that was the, like for me, I've never had an experience like that before, but that changed a lot for me. Like people, like I said, they couldn't believe the actress it was.
But Rajat, how do we, as interviewers, honestly, that was a great interview, but it's not often that you get those. So I always wonder that what am I not doing as a journalist that I should be doing to have more really engaging conversations? What do you do?
I think that as much if the actors are to blame that they don't speak candidly and freely, I think that we have to take responsibility for it. I think that we tend not to create engaging conversations. We tend to, I think the media tends to just ask similar questions. We're not, again, I think it's funny, it's both parties equally responsible. You know, when you talk about films, they don't want to talk, a lot of actors don't want to talk about too much about films because they probably don't, a lot of them don't know very much about the films that they've made. They've not watched the film before. Just like us, they haven't watched the film either. Most of them will tell you, you need to watch the film for this. Then you're left to ask questions about your life, and invariably that will involve questions about one's personal life and romance, which they don't want to talk about either. So you're really kind of stuck in a situation where they don't really want to talk at all. I mean, invariably the question they want to answer is, what were the moments you remember from the making of this film?
I think
And for the longest time, I was asked question like 5-6 years ago. I was asked the question, who would you think be the next generation star? Deepika or Sonam? I'm like, me. Like, come on, you're very funny. Tell us the answer. I'm like, me. Why not me? So like, no, we want a serious answer. I'm like, okay. But you know, they're all very predictable questions, and some of them can get very hurtful also.
But I think there's one thing that I've observed is whenever I watch a lot of these interviews being done, so there is something which is going on in the current affairs. So let's take something in which Mr. Rajiv Mashran was also involved. So you will have different sort of interviews. So even if there is a chautha of some person happening, and then there is celebrities attending that, even then there will go ki, "Acha, aapka AIB roast pe kya ho gaya?" So I think that is something which makes me wonder. And another fascinating visual example of this would be whenever I go to airport. So airport has unfortunately become the only place to buy books and magazines and everything. And you see this wall of magazines put there. So you have magazines ranging from India Today to Newsweek to architecture, and even a magazine on architecture and window pane designing has a Bollywood celebrity on its cover page. And I wonder, so I saw a one-page ad where we had Hrithik's biceps representing architecture and iron ore steel exhibition that was happening. So I mean, I wonder that where are the successful people? I mean, I'm sure CNR Rao, who is a physicist, he's a celebrity in his own circuit. There are many people who are, but I think वो मेरे पिताजी कहते थे कि इंडिया में सिर्फ 3 तरह के लोग जाने जाते हैं, नेता, अभिनेता और क्रिकेटर. इसके अलावा कुछ बनोगे तो nobody will know you. So I think there is some moment of truth in that.
I also think that, to be fair, that's changing. You know, occasionally, as the Kangna interview on your show proved, when you go with great questions, when you go prepared to have a good interview, they will come. And I think that the actors and talent, Bollywood talent, is actually hungry to have intelligent conversations now. I know we occasionally do the roundtables, the Bollywood roundtables, and it's interesting because the first year we did actors, we did directors, we did writers, we did everything but actresses, because you know that you're not going to get 4 actresses together. And then the next year, it is a cliche. So the next year I said, let's give it a shot. And the first call we made was Kangna, and she said yes. I was like, great, that's 1 down, 3 to go. And it was amazing. We actually got Vidya and Deepika and Nimrat, and it was great, which really we didn't anticipate. It's also, I know it's the cliche, but there is some truth in that. You rarely get 4 actresses who are willing to sit there and talk about their careers and their process. And the great thing was that conversation was not about their personal lives. It was about their process, their ambitions, the direction they want to take their career in. So I think that is changing. And then we did it again the next year. So clearly it is changing.
I think your episode with Kangna had the first mover advantage. I think that was the first time that an interview was happening where an actress was able to make fun of ki, then there is one line, even if you're half asleep, you can go, anyone in the world can deliver it. That's really a very funny take on that. So I think, that honesty is, I think when we see the comments on any videos, I think every single person throughout this country's corners are rooting for that honesty, and they can see through you, and that's what they admire. And it was the first time.
I know you talked about, Hrithik's biceps selling whatever it was selling. So the truth is that actors and actresses are now, they're just required for everything. And access to you is so critical for all 3 of us. Like I said, what are the ethical implications of that? Can we afford to piss Kangna off?
No, I think access is not a problem for us anymore. I think everyone.
No. She said no, off with her head. No, yeah, I'm sorry. What?
I think when I started it 3 years back, that time people used to celebrate an open champagne bottle on 50,000 views. So that was the small size of this medium. Today, an average viewer of anything decent gets around 1 million viewership. So I think like what happened with television, like once the stars and once the filmmakers and the parts that we realized that okay, this medium which is television serves 10 million people, 20 million people, so let's be on that screen and let's promote ourselves or the movies or our work. And I think that is what has happened. I think there is no science to it, there is no trade secret. What happened, this medium, internet, gathered a lot of traction, so we now have 3 million, 5 million viewership. And who would want to cater to that? Who would want to talk to that?
So basically, you're safe and Rajiv and I are messed up.
Yeah.
है ना? ये यही बोल रहा है.
I think so. I mean, I don't hope so, but but anyway, half of them have stopped talking to Rajiv, and because of his latest incident, he has stopped talking to the other half. So I think I was just gazing for an awkwardness between the hug, so that I could know whether he has done some bad review of her. And
No, Anil talks to both of us.
I have tremendous respect for
Thank you. No, but
Rajiv and
tell me, what do you look for in an interview?
I don't go with expectations, Anu, because I feel that I've been there for a while now, and I've been through interviews where they don't even allow you to complete your answer. They ask you a question and अच्छा okay उसको छोड़िए. Okay, fine. So you don't want to go with any expectation, and you just want to go with the flow. That is what I look for. But like you do have people, like when I go for your interview, I definitely look for great conversations and great angles which I must have not explored in my mind. Like the question that you asked me, I never really sat back or thought about them or ever sort of went through making those decisions the way I that they spoke about it. So yeah, so I think it depends, like I said, depends a lot on the interviewer and how comfortable they make you feel, and the intent of the person also. When they're asking you questions, you just like someone like me who at 28 has seen half the world. Like I know when I see a person that what that person is seeking from me, and sometimes you give them what they want, sometimes you don't. I'm pissed today, I don't want to give any sensational lines. And sometimes the conversation is so genuine, and the person is genuinely wanting to know who you are, and we are more than happy. Like who is not more than happy telling them who we are, how we got here, and what makes us. Even the film companion thing we did, you asked
The
me
masterclass, yeah.
masterclass. You asked me about the depths of the craft, that I've developed over the years, and I can't share that with anyone. Like even sometimes when if I tell them, I cracked this like that, my sister or my brother, they'll be like, wow, so they won't understand that language, so. So I was so happy to talk about it, and you valued it. So for me, it was something that I treasure and I value as well.
And what's the one thing that really pisses you off?
Well, it depends on the kind of day it is, but usually, of course, like the shallow conversations and obviously the repetitive question, and the person is recording and taking your interview just because they are asked to, and they have to go back with that interview, and you were just one of those people. Like they just kind of
It's a job.
It's a job, and you have to just give those repetitive lines. बहुत अच्छा लगा इनके साथ काम करके, बहुत ही प्रोफेशनल हैं, टाइम पे आ जाते हैं, और मुझे भी अच्छा. और एक आखिरी क्वेश्चन, they cut you off in between because they have to go. So you meet all kind of people.
It's funny she says that, because as journalists now I know I make sure that I don't ask those questions, because that's exactly the answer you're going to get. What was it like to work with this person? Like she's going to tell you that he was a pain and it was horrible and you never going to work with him again. She's never going to tell you that, right?
Exactly.
Maybe you, Anu.
But another thing that just kind of drives him mad is वो अपनी फिल्म का डायलॉग सुनाएंगे.
I think that's. I mean, we as viewers also get very. What is that?
Okay, like it took me 3 days to do that, and how can I do it here now? Okay, dialogue में सुना सकते हो, can you please dance on that song, please? No, it's okay. We can, we have to wrap this. One thumka, please. Like, so I don't know, people do that. I mean, actors are very gracious and very nice who do that. I've never got off my chair and done a thumka for anyone or things like that. And I make sure that I convey that to them, that, I don't look at my craft like that, where I can just get up any time and do the kind of things that I, do in movies. I respect my work, and I cannot, and it's impossible for me to display a word from my character or a particular nuance, on TV, television like that. So I think somewhere media needs to have that sort of respect for, I don't say that every actor approaches their craft like that, not all of us, but like everyone has a different approach. There are ones who are so charming that they would love to actually get onto this table and, charm you all and, seduce you all, but all of us are not the same, Few people have their own personalities, and I think interviewers somewhere tend to think all actors are just the same, Like I am so shy, like every time I try to get on stage, do a show or anything, I had like major panic attacks and palpitations and things like that. I can never dance on stage. Most of the time I don't go for awards because I get so nervous, and I am here today because it's you, or I don't usually do, like very personal, intimate this thing, because I have fucked up way too many times. And, I hope to keep to myself, and कहते हैं अपनी इज्जत अपने हाथ में होती है.
Arnab, do you think comedy is the key to breaking images, to getting a different spin on celebrity?
I think since the time of Premchand only, whenever we have tried to tell truth to the society, or we have tried to deal with it, if you deal with it in any other manner other than comedy and humor, I think it has faced very dramatic and bad consequences. When we created Barely Speaking with Arnab, a lot of people think that okay, it's a show where but the whole agenda was, we were inspired with a couple of shows, like there is one show called Between Two Ferns, and there's a show called Ali Ji in the House, and there's of course some inspiration from Mr. Rajiv Masand, the way he he reviews the movies. So we thought that why not humanize the guests? I think, because when we imagine that when a celebrity talks to her friends or his friends, they talk to them like people, and when you talk to your friends, you बोलते अरे यार तू क्या कर रहा है यार, क्या बेवकूफ़ी कर रहा है यार, तू क्यों ऐसे कर रहा है, और वो बोलता है हाँ यार ये गलती हो गई यार मेरे से यार, मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था ये. I think that conversation is a part of us being human. It cannot be that somebody has become a star then he has stopped having that conversation, and we just try to capture that. So even, when Shah Rukh, whose stakes are so high, and he was willing to sort of come on stage and face these questions, forget that. When Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who is like a politician, who is a leader, who is having his own...
You recently had him on.
He is recently having, I think he keeps having things. So he, imagine a man who is always in the midst of something. He agreed to be on the show.
And so they had Arvind Kejriwal, and then they had the fake Arvind Kejriwal.
Yeah. I think Jeetu is here, and he met him, he said, you do better Kejriwal than him. I do. And I just said, I hope he does the same when it comes to politics. So he said that, okay, I would love to be a part of this. So we made this question that, so when you went and proposed to your wife, how did you do that? So he said he actually did this in real life. He went to a room, knocked the door, and said, I want to marry you. So then we cracked the joke that अगर वो नहीं मानती तो वहाँ पे बैठ के धरना देते, ठीक है? And did you have a doubt about your engagement 46 days after you were engaged to her? So I think, and he was, because all of us are humans, and I think we appreciate these kind of jokes, and that is what we intended to do. That okay, let's break the PR machinery manufactured image that they have been attuned to for such a long time. Let's break that. Let's make them sit in front of a fake meanest host that can be there in this country, and let him ask brutal questions, and let them be friends, and let them talk to them like friends, and that is what we've tried to achieve. And Pariniti was a spot.
Well.
I'm telling, we were scared to tell Pariniti that we are coming to you with jokes like तुम्हारी अगली मूवी का नाम शुद्ध देसी घी होना चाहिए, शुद्ध देसी रोमांस नहीं.
It's not working.
How many times Queen has been played in my office? We must have lost on business because of your film.
One of the big sort of conundrums I have in my life as a professional journalist, and I'm old school, I'm a print journalist to begin with. I was trained as a print journalist. I went to Northwestern University. I was taught that advertising and editorial are two separate things. They're church and state, and never shall the twain meet. And now we live in a world where you can buy your own press. It's extremely disturbing for me. I don't know how to get my head around it. I cannot make peace with it. How does it on you as an actor when you can actually just buy and construct your own interview and then wake up in the morning and look at yourself and say, wow, you can create your own myth. You can just do it. What does that do?
I really don't have much to say about it, but it's very harmful for the business part of our craft, because you spend so much money buying these media ads or full page ads or to build perception, and then you want to save that money and not put it in the film and do things like that.
But put it into marketing instead.
And no one knows how much it is benefiting from a film like, for example, Queen. I mean, it just did well on word of mouth, and eventually the content has to be good. But it's true that people are way too invested in the buying part of it, like they want to buy everything from reviews to media net to opinions to blogs. Everything is bought these days, which makes very hard for small filmmakers and the ones who are very genuinely, trying to make cinema.
Rajiv, does it bother you?
It does. And now there's not even a distinction between what is paid and what is unpaid. So you're reading material and you don't know. I mean, but you're meant not to know, and it's dangerous. It's just dangerous. It's what breed of journalists are being created. It's scary. I mean, for a younger breed, they don't know any different. They don't know of a time when they were two separate things. When advertising and journalism was two separate things. So it makes me very uncomfortable. It's very dangerous.
But we shall hope. And we have Arnab to give us honest feedback always.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think that's one of the trickier and leveling part of digital medium is that there is only so much of buying that can happen. So because every single viewer is very omnipowerful, they'll just do a click and close the thing because they don't like it, or they'll go ahead, comment it and like it because they really feel for it. So I think till now, fingers crossed, there is no buying and selling happening on that medium, and we hope that we keep it like that and maintain it.
Yeah, but you can manipulate perception of people, because everyone is not, sort of molded to think that way. What they watch on TV or they read it, they tend to make their opinions based on that, because
they believe it.
Yeah, because and why I stopped reading paper, which is very harmful, and watching TV is because they don't tell you news, they tell you perception, what you should be thinking about this news, which is wrong, because you're feeding my brain. Like, I'm not allowed to make a perception of this particular event or this particular piece of news or action taken by government or some rape case that happened there. You're telling me what I should be thinking and what is actually happening, because you should only give me the news and then I will think what is happening, So this is also the difference between actually the reporting and actually trying to form the perception of people.
So you don't read papers at all?
What's supposed to be a secret?
Do you read
Now you will call me on your show and ask me who's the president of India, and I was like,
no, but Sangha, do you read your own interviews? Do you see your own press? Not at all. Really?
No.
You don't want to know what they're saying?
No, because I'd be like, oh, I didn't mean that. Now I'm disturbed. No, I'm, like I said, I don't know, I just keep to myself because there's no point anyway, because you just, you just want to allow that much to happen on its own. And I think it just makes people controlling. That I want to control everything, what people are thinking about me, I want to control that. What people are writing about me, I should know and it should have happened or would have happened. And when you are in a place, like as insecure as an acting job, you tend to be so controlling and annoying. That is what I've learned from my seniors. So don't be like that. Don't read paper. Don't see your interview. Don't worship yourself, So just let it be.
Don't believe your own press. Yeah, I think that's fundamental, especially when you can buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't believe the products that you're buying.
Indeed. Arnab, Rajiv, Kanna, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you guys.
It's so interesting to see them stop clicking and listening.
Also, congratulations on your book.
Thank you. So we have to now unveil it.
Oh yeah.
Grab one.
So much.
No puppy for you, but she's got two.
I've got two. You can hold one.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sandhya does this wonderful event for literature. Just thank you.
You have to play that role.